This is Taxes from the Predatory Lending Network talking to you. Now, the August unemployment report is out, and unemployment came in at 8.1%, and underemployment came in at 14.7%. Now, what do you think about these numbers, Harley?
It's really frustrating because a lot of us, we don't want to take retail jobs, we don't want to take fast food jobs, and so people who have had schooling and master's degrees that want to be doctors, they're stuck working these like McDonald's kind of jobs, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I think that there needs to be more opportunity for people to get jobs that they have their degree in, and I don't think it's fair to have someone who worked 10 years to get a master's degree or a PhD to have to go back to work at a McDonald's or a Macy's or things like that.
Now, I know, Harley, you have your advanced doctorate degree, you're a doctor, and you have a college education, a lot of college debt, but a lot of teenagers these days are having hard time because teen unemployment is some of the highest out there, up around 23-25%. What do you think for other college graduates and doctors such as yourself, having a hard time, just entering the workforce?
Keep going and keep trying. You may have 500 no's, but someone will say yes. And you might have to work at a restaurant or a store for a couple years before something comes up, but do not give up. There will be opportunities for you, and you just have to keep trying.
Well, interesting as you say about giving up. Now, officially, the workforce participation rate had little change this month, and the labor force participation rate fell to 63.5%, meaning only 63.5% of workers are able to work at... I'm actually going to read it this time.
It's okay.
Officially, the workforce showed little change in August, but the labor force participation rate fell to 63.5%, meaning only 63.5% of workers able to work are working. Oh, geez.
It's okay. Take your time.
Are things really worse? Run too long.
We'll start over. It's okay.
Officially, the workforce shows little change in August, but the labor force participation rate is at 63.5%, meaning only 63% of workers are actually working. Do we believe what the government is telling us?
I think that you do your research. That's all I can really say. I mean, the government can tell you one thing and really mean another. So do your research, Google, encyclopedia, all of those things, because you have the right to have an opinion just as much as everyone else does. So if you feel that you're being cheated, do your research, back up your facts, and it'll go somewhere.
This is not one of my better interviews. Now, the average hourly earnings for all workers is $23.52 an hour. And the average hourly earnings for workers is $23.52 an hour. And workers in non-supervisory positions make $19.75 an hour. Now, the average work week is around 34.5 hours to 40 hours. Now, do you believe these numbers?
As sad as it is, I do. I think, but the problem is that if we keep raising the minimum wage, it makes the dollar worth less. So the more you raise it, it's just going to keep becoming this cycle of we have to keep raising it because we're not making enough as minimum wage.
Do you believe that raising the minimum wage actually creates greater unemployment? Because a lot of people say to raise the minimum wage, but employers argue the opposite, that it makes it harder to hire.
I think it just creates more problems all around because it doesn't help the economy, and the dollar value keeps going less and less and less. And so it's just a tough battle either way. I mean, for me, I take money is money to me. I will take $5 an hour working at a cashier because it's money. It pays the bills. I know for some people that's difficult though, and if a lot of that has to do with a degree too, because if you have a degree, you're paid more.
Well, you got a doctorate.
Yeah, I have a doctorate, so I know what I'm talking about. But money is money, and if you feel that you're being underpaid, fight it. Go to your supervisor, go to human resources, because some jobs are really underpaid, and it's not fair. I mean, things aren't fair, but I think that there is a way around it. You just have to be willing to stand up and fight for it.
So in closing, is there any last-minute things you'd like to say to the folks of Gotham City and the rest of the galaxy?
Stay out of trouble. Don't end up in Arkham like I am, because then you won't be making any money. Thank you, guys.
So in closing, this is Taxes from the Predatory Lending Network, signing out. Now, this is Taxes from the Predatory Lending Network. Now, the August unemployment report is out, and unemployment rate for August came in at 8.1%, and underemployment came in at 14.7%. Now, what do you think about that?
Well, in the 23rd century, we have full employment. everyone works. So I don't understand what happened back in your century.
Well, I know currently in our time we have a workforce participation rate which showed little change this month. Now the labor force is currently at 63.5%, meaning only 63.5% of workers actually work. Now, do you actually believe the numbers that the government's telling us?
Well, you know, it makes sense to me, especially if the person who's running the government right now is trying to run for re-election. You would think they'd want to fudge the numbers a bit. But if they're telling us bad numbers, it must be true.
Now, you actually said in the 23rd century it was?
Yes, that's
that
where
you
I'm
have
from.
full employment. Now, how were you able to get full employment in the 23rd century?
Well, we have a lot of opportunities to explore different worlds and so on, and so you needed a lot of people to man various ships and various shuttlecrafts and so on. The Federation actually is looking for good people right now, and if any of you are interested who are looking for a job, would like to time travel to the 23rd century and come for work for the Federation, there's plenty of jobs out there.
Okay. Now, the average hourly earnings in the 21st century are actually around $23.52 an hour, and for all workers it's $19.75 for non-supervisory workers. Also, the average work week is around 34.5 hours to 40.5 hours. Do you actually believe these type of numbers?
I don't understand the question. In the 23rd century, we don't use money and we don't pay people. We just work and we live.
Seems like an idealistic society. Now, I know we're going to have some tough times because I've known a little bit about your century because my people have done space flight. What do you think of the 21st century, them canceling the space program? Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, definitely a bad thing. I mean, if you continue on this particular journey at this point, this particular path of not sending people off to explore other planets, then by the time we get to my century, I might not be around.
So, I know I'm a big pusher for the space program because I like to, hunt various beings from other planets. Is there any particular thing that we could help to get the space program going on this planet?
Well, I think if more people get into Star Trek and watch more Star Trek movies and TV shows and the upcoming movie that will be released next year, I think that'll get more people excited about space exploration, and we might be able to encourage our government, or your government that is, in the 21st century, and in fact other governments as well throughout your world, to fund more space exploration programs.
So in closing, is there any last minute things you'd like to say to the folks?
Well, I think if you want to change things, you may want to think about changing the currently elected leader that you have. I'm not going to say who you should maybe vote for, but you might want to think about that. So let me just leave it at that.
Okay, so in closing, this is Taxis from the Predatory Lending Network, signing out. This is Taxis from the Predatory Lending Network, talking to you. Now, the August unemployment report is out, and the unemployment rate came in at 8.1%, and underemployment came in at 14.7%. Now, what do you think about these numbers?
I think they could be correct, but at the same time, if you look out there, the rate of unemployment seems higher than what it really is. So the numbers could be true, but the way I look at it is that unemployment is much higher than the numbers on what they would really say.
Now, officially, the workforce showed little change. But in August, the workforce participation rate was 63.5%, meaning only 63.5% of workers are working. Do you actually believe these numbers that the government's telling us?
No, I don't, because a lot of times when the government gives us numbers, the numbers are meant to placate the masses out there. And so when they're giving us numbers, again, it's up to us to decipher what that means. And numbers, as anything else, statistics can be fudged, it can be manipulated, and it can be twisted to what they want to portray. So I look at it as it's inaccurate.
Now, the average hourly earnings for all workers is $23.52, but the average worker makes $19.75 an hour. Also, your average work week is around 34 hours to 40 hours a week. Do you actually believe the numbers that are out there?
I think for a selective sample, yes, but as a whole, including all the people who are part-time, the people who work very few hours, I don't think that's an average. But if you take the entire United States, I don't think that's accurate, because the sample should be smaller than that. I don't think people, again, there's a lot of people who maybe just gave up, and they don't figure into the numbers. And so if people are not working and just not applying for unemployment, just staying at home, or the people who are just like I said, giving up, those numbers are not figured into the final equation. So again, the numbers can be skewed as they see fit.
Now, I know you're part of the press, your employer, the Green Hornet, works for a newspaper and stuff like that.
Yes,
now,
that's right, the Daily Sentinel.
Would you say the Daily Sentinel is actually giving us accurate reporting?
You know, anything's possible, but at this point, the numbers, it is what it is.
So, any other media industries that you would believe besides the Daily Sentinel and hopefully the Daily Planet?
Find your information online. Go to different sources. Don't believe everything you read. And when you're looking for the information, try to find information that's given by non-media, big conglomerate supported media. So that's where you're going to find the best information.
Any last minute things you'd like to say?
Let's roll.
Let's roll. So this is Taxes from the Predatory Lending Network, signing out. Now, this is Taxes from the Predatory Lending Network talking to you. Now, the August unemployment report is out, and unemployment came in at 8.1%, and underemployment came in at 14.7%. What do you folks think about these numbers?
I don't think they're very good for economy standpoints, and just basically having anyone get off their feet and get off into the real world and, like, you know, basically just start. It makes it a lot harder for them to go off to college and do any career they kind of want, so.
I think that they're not great, but I think that they are steadily going down. I think Obama's doing a pretty good job about getting a fair amount of jobs out there. Not really for teenagers, but, you know, I don't know. I don't have a job.
Well, I'm currently employed for like a company that's stable, Safeway. So like I'm lucky to have a job, but there's a lot of teenagers I know who like try to get one and they can't get it. But I'm for Obama, so I think we'll just give him more chances to go at it.
I think that I'm really bad at this. Well, I'm currently unemployed. I've been trying to get a job since like I turned 18 last year, and I've been able to get hired once and seasonally, and they fired me at the slightest problem. I'm voting for Obama, so I believe in the policies that he's creating for young adults in terms of the chances that he's giving us compared to the opposition. So I hope that he gets in office and that everything works out.
Since some of you are shorter, can we like kind of so we fit in the thing better, and then you behind them, so we all fit? Because I'm like standing, and then you behind her, so we get in really tight and then fit them. Now, officially, the workforce participation rate is at 63.5%, meaning only 63.5% of workers are actually working there. Now, do you actually believe the government numbers that they're telling us ahead of this current election?
I'm not sure because I'm not up on my information very well, but some of the time maybe it's a little bit off, but I'm not sure which way it turns. So
same, like you never know what the government's going to tell you that's true and not true, so you just kind of have to hope that it's around the numbers so we can guesstimate.
I don't really believe that. I think that a lot of people are trying to find jobs, and I mean, I can't imagine that people are really like not working in the workplace, but I don't know. I don't really believe it.
It's sketchy. I don't really believe it just because my whole family, we had one person employed in a 5-person household. So I don't think, like, it can't be what they're telling us. So.
Now, I know most of you are for the current president, but we've had other people on the show going for the new guy. So what side do you think are skewing these numbers?
I'm not really sure. I know exactly what side is skewing these numbers. The Mitt Romney crowd, they like to say that Obama didn't produce enough jobs, but let me just say, 8 years of Bush takes a lot more to clean up than 4 years.
They say he's not producing jobs. He's been producing jobs, just not like everybody's employed yet, so he's doing a good job.
It's getting there. It takes a lot more time than 4 years, and they're not letting Obama do the policies that he's wanting to. So give him 4 more years and he'll have the chance to do all he wants.
Can we just try and I just want to make sure we all get it. Now, the average hourly earnings for all workers are $23.52, but the non-supervisory workers make $19.75 an hour. And your average work week is around 34.4 to 40.5 hours. Now, do you actually believe this is what the average American is making?
I could probably answer this the most because I get probably roughly 34 to 40 hours a week as well, and I'm a teenager, so I kind of believe that, but I don't make that much money. So I'm minimum wage, so.
I'm unemployed. I'm not really the best person to ask.
I'm not old enough to have a job yet, so.
So in some ways you're lucky and not lucky.
I don't really think my opinion's that valid right now, just because my job experience is very limited in terms of getting paid.
Now, I know most of you are young people and stuff, but teenage unemployment is some of the highest out there, somewhere in like 23 to 25%. I don't have the exact numbers. Now, how do you guys feel your upcoming job prospects are, since you'll be entering the workforce soon, or you will be, and then, you know, all the issues with college debt and stuff?
Well, where my sister works, she's going to try to get me a job there. So I'm hoping that's going to be pretty okay for me, as long as I, do my job and I can keep it well. So that's,
Yeah, basically, like, my job's stable because I work for a big company, but teenagers shouldn't expect anything but minimum wage when they start. Like, if they get anything else, they're lucky.
Yeah. It's difficult to get a general job. I had looked around when I was in high school. I'm currently majoring in a field that's very specific to a certain job, majoring in animation. So when you graduate, you pretty much have a job. So my goal is to get a job, and I'm hoping that'll work out.
Well, you're at a good place to be for that today.
Well, I'm in college right now. My initial major I was going to do, I wanted to teach high school English, and everyone laughed at me when I said that because I wasn't going to get a job. I wasn't going to get paid. It was not a stable thing, so I had to switch my major because I knew that I wasn't going to have a chance. So I think that the job market right now, it's discouraging people to do what they want to do.
Okay, so in closing, is there any last minute things you'd like to say?
Go Obama.
Go Obama.
Go Obama.
All right, so I guess all together we do it? Okay, go. Go
Mama!
That was, you want to try a good one?
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Go Obama!
All right.